guys dug down deeper than I've ever seen a team dig down, and so you earned the opportunity to play today. Being tired, the practices, the long basketball season, all comes down to this moment. Play for each other, play together, play as one family. You guys will be cutting nets down at the end of the day.
AVC Sports presents high school basketball. Tonight's game is brought to you by Dome Ford, Patriots, Buckeye Mutual Insurance, WB Green Insurance, West 40 Auto Sales, Woodsfield Savings Bank, Valentine Insurance, The Battery Depot, Park National Bank, Allen Hunter, State Farm, and Surgent Construction.
Good evening and welcome to girls high school basketball regional tournament action as the John Glenn Little Muskies face the Granville Blue Aces in the Division II Region 7 semifinal at Zanesville High School's Winland Memorial Gymnasium. I'm Dave Hilliard, and along with my partner Howard Twiggs, we'll have all the action right here on the YRPtv YouTube channel. John Glenn enters tonight's contest with a 19-8 record, having defeated Minerva, Riverview, Carrollton, and West Holmes in their tournament games. Granville has a stellar 24-2 record, having defeated Norton, Marion Franklin, Whitehall, Heath, and Bishop Hartley on their tournament trail. This is John Glenn's second trip to the regional in a row, losing a heartbreaker to the eventual state runner-up Sheridan 41-40 here at Zanesville last year. Granville is also no stranger to the regional tournament, losing to the eventual state champion Kettering Alter in the regional semifinal at Springfield last year, 39-36. That being said, Howard, what do you expect to see out of these two basketball teams tonight in this regional semifinal?
Let's start with Granville, if we may. Offensively, the Lady Aces 51.5 points per game, but where they make their mark is defensively. They allow just 28 points per game, so John Glenn's going to have to put the ball in the basket. For the Lady Muskies, they average 52.5 per game, defensively 39. So both teams good defensive outfits. A couple of other keys for me, Dave, is that Granville 10-0 away, 5-2 on neutral floors. John Glenn 5-5 away, 4-1 on neutral floors. So both teams have played their share of contest away from their respective gymnasiums. And one other note to think about as we start to delve into this, they do have some common opponents. Both teams played Zanesville, both teams played Licking Valley, and they were victorious in all aspects. Granville beat Zanesville 54-43 and 60-51. And then in the first round of the sectional district, John Glenn beat Zanesville girls 74-40. So maybe you make some note that John Glenn was more impressive in their victories with a bigger margin. Licking Valley, not much of a test for either team. John Glenn won by 25, and Licking Valley about the same with Granville, except the Granville home game with Licking Valley was 62-11. So I think you throw that one out. So this is a game that, for me, John Glenn is going to have to score on the inside. They're going to have to really take care of the basketball and make every possession count, simply because they're not going to get that many. Granville forces 21 turnovers, so possession-wise, John Glenn may be able to be looking at maybe 40 possessions, and they're going to have to try and hit 20 for 40, knock down some free throws and a couple of threes for their 50.
And I think, too, one of those things that when you get to this point, I saw an area coach say that everyone's pretty good. Granville is a handful here offensively because they have three players that are really going to do the bulk of their scoring. Harper Inarino, she's averaging 16.3 points per game. Ava Gossman, she's averaging 12 a game. Aaliyah Moore, 9.8 to almost 10 points per game. Aaliyah also, she set a school record this year for Granville. She made 7 threes in one game, and somebody that's not afraid to shoot it from the perimeter. She's averaging about 34% from the three-point line this year. And as I said, she seemed to have no conscience. I watched a couple of games of Granville's on film, and if she gets her feet set from the three-point line, it's going to go up, and probably a good chance that she's going to make that shot, Howard. On the other side of the coin, John Glenn, Maya Oliver has been their go-to all-around player all year, and really for the past 2 seasons as a sophomore this year, she's averaging 16 points per game. Mackenzie Linscott, she is averaging 10.6 points per game, and then Riley Zeminski, she is averaging just over 11 points a game. So both teams have 3 players that they rely on to do the bulk of their scoring.
Matchup-wise, when you look at those three, by the way, Harper Anarino, in addition to being their leading scorer for the Lady Aces, also checks in at 7.5 rebounds per game, so she does a lot inside. But let's start with the inside matchup with Anarino and Lynn Scott. Foul trouble could determine some of the outcome of this game. Who gets off inside could certainly determine some of this basketball game. So that's one to watch really early. Some nerves will most likely be in play. We don't know what kind of officiating we might have. So that inside play will be very important. I think the Gossman and Oliver matchup is another one to really watch, simply because one of them gets hot, the other one's going to have to adjust team-wise. Zemensky, I think, is capable. She might be the wild card in this one. That, again, if she knocks down some shots, gets some confidence, puts some Granville in a different kind of position that they haven't been used to, then John Glenn has a very good chance to win the game.
And let's just say the winner of this game will play the Fairland Dragons in the regional championship game on Friday night. Fairland disposing of Unioto 88-61. And let's just say, Howard, that whoever wins this game is going to have their hands full with the Dragons. We watched this game. Two undefeated teams came into this gym in that semifinal game, 25-0 apiece, and Fairland dominated the basketball game.
And I'm going to say this with all due respect, Coach. I'm glad that Granville and John Glenn's kids were in their locker rooms not watching Fairland. Those girls are outstanding. They are going to be a difficult task, but that's ahead. You got to get there tonight. Either one of these teams can hopefully get there. Take your chance Friday night, but you're right. They are just an outstanding basketball team.
Well, and like we said, they're going to have their hands full no matter who wins that basketball game. Rolling on here in the pregame, we're going to take us a quick break, but we'll be right back to talk about a little bit more about each team and the starting lineups. You're watching high school basketball on AVC Sports.
In your time of need, will you be happy with your cut-rate car insurance? Will you have the coverages you need? Valentine Insurance is dedicated to protecting you and your family when you need it. As an independent insurance agency, we have partnered with many reputable insurance companies who even have local claims adjusters to provide you with unbeatable service. Are you going to trust a talking lizard to help you with your claim? Really? Don't let this happen to you. Trust the professionals at Valentine Insurance. Call 994-1776.
Your home and your car are likely your two biggest investments. Protecting them from unexpected damage is a prime concern to WB Green Insurance. They are proud to represent Westfield Insurance, a financial service organization that provides insurance products for your home, auto, and business. Sharing knowledge, building trust is Westfield Insurance's pledge to their customers, along with personalized claim service that's fast and friendly. To learn how Westfield can help with your insurance needs, talk to WB Green Insurance today.
Till I checked on Ford.
Most of us are faced with uncertainty every day. Your job, your finances, sporting events, schooling for your children, and so much more. With so much uncertainty surrounding you, there's one auto dealership that you can be certain about, and that's Doan Ford. You can be certain that you'll always get a great deal and the best service afterwards. In business for nearly 60 years has given Doan Ford the reputation of being a strong, reliable dealership. Be certain. Choose Doan Ford. Online at doanford.com.
Park National Bank knows that when you buy your first home, it's the little things that mean the most.
I always love to hear my son say, "Mom, I don't ever want to move. I want to stay here forever." It's all for him.
What means a lot to you means a lot to us. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Surgeon Construction is leading the way in commercial and industrial construction. This is Jason Emsch, and we are committed to providing exceptional construction experience from pre-construction through project completion. Our success is measured by exceeding our clients' expectations. See our past and previous projects at Cambridge YMCA and New Educational Center at Jurassic Park and FMJ Shooting Range, just to name a few. Find us online at surgeon.construction and like us on Facebook.
Surgeon Construction. We'll take it from here.
Now located at 16050 McConnellsville Road in Caldwell, Ohio. Patrons Buckeye Mutual Insurance Company is a mutual insurance company established in 1896 for the purpose of providing insurance coverage to rural Ohio. They offer a product to meet your insurance need, whether it is for a farm, rental dwelling, home in town, secondary or seasonal dwelling, churches, or mobile home. They partner with Grinnell Mutual Insurance Company to offer liability coverage to package with their patrons Buckeye Mutual policy. Call today at 638-3604 and follow them on Facebook at Patrons Buckeye.
Dave Hilliard and Howard Twiggs back here high atop Windland Memorial Gymnasium as we are up in the crow's nest to call this basketball game tonight. And it's a great view, but it is hot up here in the upper reaches of the gymnasium. So good thing that I opted for the golf shirt tonight. It is a little bit hot up here in the top of this gym. John Glenn, as I stated in the intro, they come into this game at 19-8. They've lost their fair share of some tough basketball games at the beginning of the season. They lost to Fairland, who is going to be in this regional final, 78-47, which after watching Fairland play, it doesn't surprise me.
Played pretty well.
Yeah, that's Fairland. Fairland is a really good basketball team. Very talented. We got to see them here in the first game. I know they lost a tough game to Tri-Valley by 1 early, 49-48. They lost to Sheridan early, three-pointer right at the end of the basketball game. So I know they started off, they were looking like 1-4 right off the bat, but they've turned their season around. And Coach Sigmund has done a really nice job. He's trying to develop an entire program. He does a lot of work with the youth. He's always got one of the youth on his bench in the game as like an assistant coach. So he's really doing all those little things to try to build his program. And it's good to see somebody that's working hard like that to develop their program have some success. And this is their second straight year of winning the district. And they have won a couple of games here in the tournament. What do they say? Survive and advance. And this is the 40th anniversary year of Survive and Advance. Boy, I'm going to say how old we are in this one, Howard. NC State back in '83 with the whole mantra of survive and advance. And that's what John Glenn has done. They beat Carrollton 63-62, last shot of the basketball game. They got West Holmes the other night in overtime, and they had to come from way down in that one. And they got that one in overtime at 67-60. Granville a little bit more nonchalant here in the tournament, although they just beat Hartley 42-40, and that's a huge game for Granville to get past Hartley in that district final. They beat Heath prior to that, 53-21. Not a misprint here. They beat Whitehall 51-6 in a tournament game. And also Marion Franklin and Norton to start the tournament. Both teams ironically lost their last regular season game of the year. Bexley defeated Granville 48-28, and then New Lex beat John Glenn 61-25. Both teams ending the season on kind of a sour note, but getting it going for the tournament here, Howard.
When you look at this game also with Granville, let's say that they're perhaps the favorite. The good news for John Glenn is Granville's not a big scoring team. They're a half-court team. They're gonna try to pound it inside. They'll take the three if they have it. They're gonna reverse the basketball. They're gonna look. They're gonna pass and cut. So John Glenn, I think, has an advantage that they've played in some lower scoring games, and the slower the pace is for Granville, the better off for the Muskies, unlike the first game we saw where it was just go, 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 right, and a tough way to try and stretch it out. So John Glenn, to their advantage, I think the pace is very much in play for them.
Well, and then it's going to be one of those two. As we said, the turnovers are going to have a big deciding factor in the basketball game. Whoever takes care of the ball the best usually is going to have a big advantage in a basketball game. And it's that way in just about every sport that you can think of, Howard. Football, basketball, they're the same thing. The less mistakes that you make and give the other team the basketball, the better off your chances are going to be. And in basketball, I used to work with a guy that he said it's simple. You need to get more shots than your opponent and more good shots. And the way you get more shots is making them turn the basketball over, you take care of it, and getting offensive rebounds, and I think that's another key area.
Well, the 21 turnovers that Granville is forcing per game certainly has to be in the head of the Lady Muskies. They can't be in that position to have that many turnovers again because they're probably not going to get as many shots as they'd like to have. So shots are going to be at a premium. I'm thinking perhaps a low-scoring quarter, and then the two teams will decide how are we going to play this out.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. You're watching high school tournament basketball on AVC Sports.
I was sitting in my car and it wouldn't start. I lifted the hood and the engine was falling apart. What would I do? My eyes filled with tears. Then on the radio I heard of West 40 by Pay here, where for a little money down and a little each week, I could have a car, nice, shiny, and sleek. So I walked in the door and I put the money down. Now I got a nice car that I can drive around. West 40 by Pay here will help rebuild your credit. The corner of Dewey and Route 40 in Cambridge, don't you forget it.
West 40 Auto Sales, corner of Route 40 and Dewey Avenue in Cambridge, is home of the guaranteed credit approval, with most loans approved while you wait. Go to their website to fill out an online loan application, west40autosales.com. You'll also find their weekly special listed there.
Dave Hilliard and Howard Twiggs back in lovely downtown Zanesville, Ohio. The Y-City, home of the Y-City Bridge, Howard, where you can start off, go across the bridge, and still be on the same side of the river. Where else can you do that?
Is that the last time you're going to run down Z-Town tonight, Dave? or should we be ready for some of your snarkiness?
I love the Y Bridge. Come on.
We know you do.
We have some fine sponsors for tonight's basketball game, and we appreciate them sponsoring this game. Among them include Doan Ford, Valentine Insurance, Patrons Buckeye Mutual Insurance, Allen Hunter State Farm, Park National Bank, West 40 Auto Sales, WB Green Insurance, Woodsfield Savings Bank, the Battery Depot, and Surgent Construction, all sponsors of tonight's basketball game here with the John Glenn Muskies facing the Granville Blue Aces. Starting lineups tonight. The visiting team also wearing the dark uniforms, the maroon, and trimmed in gray and white. The John Glenn Little Muskies. Number 1, a 6'2 senior, Mackenzie Linscott. Number 2, a 5'8 sophomore, Maya Oliver. A 5'10 junior, number 5, Emma Dolan. A 5'11 junior, number 24, Madeline Winland. And a 6' sophomore, number 32, Jessica Church. Round out Coach Gary Sigmund's starting lineup. For the Granville Blue Aces, the home team on our scoreboard tonight, and they're wearing white uniforms trimmed in blue. Number 2, a 5'5 senior, Ella Schneider. A 5'8 junior, number 4, Taylor Wareheim. Number 14, a 5'6 junior, Aaliyah Moore. A 5'10 senior, number 24, Ava Gossman. And a 6' junior, number 42, Harper Inorino, rounds out Coach Tate Moore's starting lineup. And a shout out to both coaches. I really appreciate both coaches, Coach Sigmund and Coach Moore, contacted them early on the weekend for statistics and rosters, and both coaches more than accommodating. Sometimes you get some coaches that act like they don't get that email. And both of these coaches very much willing to share what they had and what we could use on the air tonight. So I appreciate both coaches being quick responders and also providing some much needed statistics that we'd like to use on our broadcast.
Well, you've mentioned to me off the air, Dave, and it's worth noting to the folks listening how much you respect and enjoy Coach Sigmund for John Glenn, not only to the accommodating end that you just described, but also you're around that program somewhat, and the way you've said it is it's a totally class act from 7th grade on up.
And it's refreshing to, there's, we talked about this. There was a team that got kicked out of the tournament for recruiting, and I just appreciate when, Coach Sigmund is working hard just to develop his own program and do the best that he can with the kids that he has. And I'm sure Coach Moore, he's done such a nice job. I mean, here they are in their regional again. So not to take anything away from either coach, they're both doing a great job with their teams. to get to this point in the season where you're now looking at, if we can just win 2 more games, we're going to be in the state Final Four. Hats off to both of those teams. And again, tonight's officiating crew really appreciate all these officials and what they do. Tim Gibson will be tipping the ball off here at half court to start this regional semifinal. Winner advances to take on Fairland this Friday night. And we're about ready to start our own regional semifinal here at Zanesville.
John Glenn in the maroon uniforms with white numerals and trim. Granville in the home white with the navy blue numerals and trim.
Jessica Church going to go up against Anna Reno for the opening tip. Ball's up and the tip's going to go to Granville. Granville possesses the ball. Ella Schneider running the show for the Blue Aces as she's done all season.
Looks like man.
Man-to-man to start off. They tried to get it in there to Anna Reno to start the basketball game. Always a good move to get it inside. And looked like a combination defense there, Howard. A little bit of man and a little bit of zone for John Glenn that first possession. And there's that offensive rebound we talked about could be a key. Anna Reno, jump shot is no good. John Glenn off with the rebound. Maya Oliver, the do-everything guard for John Glenn, gets it taken from her at half court. Layup up, no good. Anna Reno's going to foul. She can't get it to go. Gets her own rebound. Struggles with it. Gets it to go up and in. Harper Anna Reno with the first basket of the game. And it's 2-0 in favor of the Blue Aces. Church with the basketball, flipping it over to Oliver. Boy, and there's Wareheim out on front doing a nice job.
Yeah.
She just got a steal a second ago. Almost another one there. Oliver turns, gets it inside. Church thought about that 3. Now inside to Lynn Scott. Back to Oliver. High post there. Shot up and no good. Granville with the rebound, and they come down on the attack. Lynn Scott with the miss, and here come the Blue Aces on the offense again. And I see 2 man-to-man, and I see 3 playing zone. So it's a little bit maybe of a bot or a diamond
Triangle.
and 2, a triangle and 2. Anna Reno going to let the 3 go from deep, no good, but the offensive rebound there by Schneider. She's trying to put a move on, but can't get it to go. Anna Reno penetrates, kind of a Euro step to get through there, but can't get that shot to go. Rebound for John Glenn. Lynn Scott has it. Oliver might have tweaked her knee a little bit over on the sideline. Looked like she was stumbled a little bit there, but she's going to let the 3 go out top, no good. Lynn Scott with an offensive board keeps the possession alive for the Muskies. They have not yet scored, and they're going to call a timeout to discuss that. 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it right here. Probably a good timeout early because John Glenn has struggled in attacking that defense so far.
Well, they've not been able to get the ball inside against Granville, and so the high percentage shots are certainly not there. They've done a nice job of reversing the basketball on the perimeter. They've taken some good looks, Dave, but they just haven't been able to connect. I'm thinking Coach Sigmund's trying to get to the point now where he says, okay, we've got to be a little bit more aggressive in attacking the glass on the dribble drive or trying to get a couple of back screens and then driving for the layup. So I'm thinking maybe that's his note to the team during the timeout. Let's attack.
Well, that triangle and 2 looks like they've played it pretty well. They just got to rebound a little bit better out of it on defense. Offense, they're looking to get a good shot here. They want to get something out of this possession. Inbound of the basketball here. Zeminski into the game. Kicks it over to Church.
Yeah, it's a 1-3-1 for Granville, by the way. It's an offset 1-3-1. They'll flatten it out into a 2-3 or a 3-2 even.
They're just trying to penetrate, get themselves into a gap here. Good ball movement here, but they're not getting it much inside the three-point line.
Yeah.
A little bit far out with it. Church now back into Lynn Scott. Lynn Scott.
I think Granville's, they're going to have to go man. They're going to man up.
They don't have to. They can. They're leading, Howard. They can stay back in that all they want to.
Yeah, they're gonna try, I think, match up.
We'll see what they do here. John Glenn still trying to find a place where they can get in there and get themselves a better shot than they've got, but they haven't advanced it much inside the volleyball line so far. Almost a turnover there by Zeminski. Gets it back to Church. Linscott's got it. She needs to square up at the basket, Howard. If she's got her back to the basket, she is not a threat.
Yeah, this is kind of an unfamiliar position for John Glenn, trying to play this delay or stall game that, obviously they must have worked on it during their practice time, but
Granville now matching up, Howard. Church on the drive, pulls up, bank shot, no good. Fight for the rebound, and Anarino's got it for the Blue Aces. She's going to lead the break. Kicks it over to Gossman. Gossman gets it down low, and it's knocked off of her leg and out of bounds. Nice play there by John Glenn, trapping her when she picked the ball up. And they're going to get the basketball back. It's 2-0, 4:16 to play here in the first quarter. And this is a little bit of a contrast in style from game one.
Yes. But Granville will stay with the man.
Bill matching up now.
Yeah, and Linscott, 25, 30 feet from the basket. That's not something I think she's familiar with.
Gets it to Church. Zemensky with the left-hand dribble now. Gets it over to Church. John Glenn not in a big hurry. And that gets thrown away by Linscott. Another steal for Granville. Schneider leading the break, but she pulls up and kicks it back outside to Gossman. Ball into the high post to Anarino. She throws it down deep to Ella Hoover. Now penetration from Schneider. Bank shot off the mark. Rebound though, an offensive rebound by Ella Hoover, and she is fouled by Mackenzie Linscott down low. First foul on the Muskies.
Granville 1 of 8 from the field here in this first quarter, hence the 2-0 score with 3 1/4 to go.
How many shots at the basket does John Glenn have, though?
John Glenn has just shot 3 field goals, Dave.
Just shot 3 field goal attempts. Hoover misses the first free throw. Score remains 2-0 here, 3:25 to play in the first quarter.
I guess if you're the Lady Muskies, stay with it. It's not hurting you so far.
Yeah. Second free throw is good. Hoover gets 1 out of 2.
Dead
and
ball
it's 3.
press, pardon me.
Linscott on the dribble now, hands it over to Zemensky. Gets it across into the offensive end for John Glenn. Now skips it over on the right side. All the way back over to Church on the left side. Church being harassed there on defense. She gets out of it, kicks it over to Windland. Windland with a shot, no good. Rebound fought for by Church. She tried to tip it up, but couldn't get it to go. Rebound off to the Blue Aces. Gossman penetrates, kicks it out. Now they find Anarino inside. She penetrates into the lane, turns, tries to get it to her teammate Hoover, but throws it out of bounds.
Nice job by John Glenn of doubling down on Anarino when she caught it at the mid-post area, so the scouting report pays off dividends there.
And I see Maya Oliver down behind the John Glenn bench trying to work out what looks to be some sort of injury. I thought she might have hurt herself over on that sideline early, Howard, but she is over here behind the bench trying to get herself loosened up, and that is a big weapon for John Glenn to have over on the sideline. Muskies now, and there's going to be a foul called right there, and that's a good call, knocked away.
Yeah, Gossman tried to come up with the steal, but first problem was she gave up baseline and had no choice, couldn't get the steal, so she had to foul to avoid the driving too.
Yep, and that was, I believe that was Musselman that they fouled, and that's going to be a 5-second count. They can't get it in bounds, and that's going to be a turnover. 3-0, 2:23 to play here in the first quarter. Blue Aces lead 3-0. Bringing the ball up the floor is Schneider. Schneider over to Wareheim. And they're trying to figure out what to do with this defense as well. They might not have seen the triangle all year. Shot up from Anarino, saved from going out of bounds, right into the hands of Schneider, but the shot is up and blocked and no good. Out of bounds, but they're going to keep the basketball underneath their own basket here, Howard.
Yeah, nobody checked out for John Glenn that shot on the shot. Unfortunately for Lady Muskies, they lost it on the inbound.
Snyder gets it all the way to the rim, lays it up and in, and that's her first bucket of the game, and it's 5-0.
How long can they stay in this delay game?
John Glenn on the attack. Lynn Scott with a three-pointer, short, saved from going out of bounds, but right to the Blue Aces. And Schneider, she's just going to walk it up.
Yep, there's that possession pace that we talked about in the pregame, Dave.
They like their tempo. Wareheim inside Anarino, three-pointer off the rim. Offensive rebound, though, by Wareheim. Dumps it down low, and that's good by Ella Hoover. She's got 3 points now. 7-0, 1:14 to go in the first quarter. Zemensky on the dribble, cut off, skips it over. Now across to Winland, but Winland couldn't get the shot off. Now Lynn Scott over on the left side. She gets it back out front to Musselman, but it's taken away, and here comes Granville on the break. They get it up to Hoover. Now Schneider, 50 seconds to play. Coach looked like he was asking them to take one shot here, so they're going to be very patient and probably take it down to the end of the quarter. Now 40 seconds to go in this first quarter. And they do look like they're going to be happy with either being ahead 7-0 or 9 or 10 if they can hit a three. Nothing really gone right for John Glenn so far. Ball inside to Anarino. She made a nice catch there. Three-pointer up and no good. And that was more. That was her first shot attempt, and they've done a nice job of keeping her from getting off the mark here so far. Penetration there from Schneider again. Now a handoff to Moore. She's trying to get some room. Three-pointer on the way at the buzzer. No good. Rebound, and that's going to end the first quarter. The Granville Blue Aces lead this regional semifinal over John Glenn 7-0. You're watching high school tournament basketball on AVC Sports.
Our community is a special place, and you work hard to make a living and build a good life for you and your family. It's not always easy. You deserve a local financial partner to be there when you need them most. At Woodsfield Savings Bank, we live, work, and play here. Our cutting-edge technology combined with local decision-making allows us to deliver unmatched personal service. Let us start earning your trust today. Woodsfield Savings Bank. It's personal here.
Do you really think that an insurance company who promises quotes in a few minutes has your best interest in mind? Do they really know you and what coverages you need? Hi, this is John Valentine with Valentine Insurance. We take time to learn about you and your insurance needs so you can feel comfortable that you're receiving the right coverages at the best possible prices. Find us on Facebook, stop by our office, or give us a call at 994-1776. Valentine Insurance, a partner you can depend on.
Second quarter action getting ready to get underway here. Regional semifinal, girls Division II basketball, Region 7. John Glenn trails Granville 7-0 here at the end of that first quarter. John Glenn going to have possession to start the game, and good news for the Little Muskies. Maya Oliver back into the basketball game, and she is kind of the glue that holds this team together, and she spent a large portion of that first quarter on the bench, Howard.
Yeah. Granville in that 1-3-1 that we expected. Quick numbers from the first quarter. John Glenn 0 of 5. There's a turnover coming back the Granville way.
Schneider going to take it all the way. She dumps it off down low over to Wareheim, and she's fouled, and she's going to get a chance to finish the old-fashioned three-point play.
Let's go ahead and finish the numbers. John Glenn 0 of 5 in the first quarter from the field. Granville just 3 of 14. That kept the Muskies really in it. Turnovers 3 for John Glenn, 2 for Granville. But the big key, 10 rebounds for Granville, just 3 for John Glenn.
Wareheim completes the three-point play, and she's got 3 points, and it is now 10-0. John Glenn in desperate need of a basket here. Maya Oliver going to bring it across the timeline. There's that 1-3-1. They're going to come up and maybe do a little pressure, a little trap out of that. And that's where you try to trap, Howard, is in those spots right there where Oliver has the basketball. Gets it back over to Zeminski. Now on the base on the sideline, and she stepped out of bounds. Unfortunate there. Emma Dolan stepped on the sideline as she caught the basketball. Another turnover. Back to the Blue Aces.
John Glenn attacking side to side on top against the 1-3-1 and then try to hit the wing area. They may want to think about diagonal passes, maybe high post.
That diagonal pass is the one that you try to get against the 1-3-1, and we just haven't seen that yet. Still looks like that triangle and 2 from John Glenn, but they can't rebound out of it has been the problem, as Anarino had another 3 on the way, but could not find the mark, but an offensive rebound here for the Blue Aces. Wareheim out top with the basketball. Falls down. Oliver's going to pick it up for John Glenn. They got some numbers here. Oliver takes it all the way in. Layup no good. And Oliver should have just let the ball go out of bounds. They tipped it at her, and her reaction was to put her hand up. Unfortunately, she was out of bounds, so that basketball is going to go back to Granville.
And John Glenn will match up, looks like full court. And that actually may help if you can kind of get Granville in a hurry, which they're certainly not.
I'm watching Oliver closely, and she's got a little bit of a limp right now, so she's still not 100%. Anarino dribbles into the lane, kicks it back out. Three-pointer on the way from Gossman in the corner, no good. Rebound this time, John Glenn able to come up with a defensive rebound. Zeminski with a tough defensive rebound now. She's on the move, tries to throw a pass in, and it's a kick. And that's going to be John Glenn basketball on their own, on the baseline. I believe, yep, right underneath their own basket. Lynn Scott going to inbound the basketball here for the Little Muskies. Cross screen action, but Lynn Scott's going to get it in bounds. Zeminski on the dribble, and that's going to be a turnover. Schneider's got it. She's going to throw it ahead. Ball almost lost out of bounds. Gossman couldn't catch it and put it on the floor and lay it in. They get it to Anarino, and that's going to be a foul. Windland a little bit too aggressive with the defense there.
Lady Muskies foul number 24, Madeline
Windland's first foul, though.
For the Blue Aces, number 14, Aaliyah Moore.
Aaliyah Moore subbing back into the game for the Blue Aces. And as we said, that's one, we expect her to score. She's a good shooter from the perimeter, good three-point shooter, but John Glenn has done a pretty good job in locking her up, not letting her get any shot opportunities.
Yeah, also Granville not really getting much from the outside. They're getting some looks, but not connecting. That's keeping John Glenn in the game.
Getting an update there on the boys' game, the Highland Hawks. They have defeated Caldwell 53-46 in what now is B.D. Lorai's last game for Caldwell. Berlin Highland, one of those teams you just expect every year, boys and girls, to do well in a tournament. Schneider now on a basketball, penetrates onto the free throw line. Gets it to Gossman. Now back to Schneider. Again, Granville going to be patient here. Schneider, stop and go, but nice defense there by Church, not letting her go anywhere, and there's finally going to be a steal, and that's going to be a foul as Hoover rolled up on, I believe that was Zeminski with the basketball.
This is the point of the basketball game. I really believe that for John Glenn. You've got to get the best player on your team, perhaps your best player, but your leading scorer has got to get a look, if not a shot. They've got to touch it, and they've got to touch it in a place where they can score with it. And unfortunately, right now, they just haven't been able to do that. Oliver out of the game again. Yeah. Church, and that's one of those dangerous cross quarters that gets stolen. Three-pointer on the way from the wing, no good from Dolan. Rebound fought for, and it comes up with Hoover. Hoover now to Schneider. Head up looking down the floor. Tipped away at the last second there by Zeminski. Good play. But coming back to the offense, I really believe John Glenn has to try and get out of that side-to-side out on the perimeter against the 1-3-1.
That cross-court pass against the 1-3-1 is the one that gets stolen almost every single time.
They're also able to double now.
And there's more with a three-pointer on the way, and it's no good. Church had the ball coming right to her, but she mistimed her jump, but they still end up with the basketball. Church now, all the way up ahead to Dolan. Back to Church. Church uses that high screen. They throw it inside to Linscott. She makes a nice reverse move, and she scores. Woohoo! Mackenzie Linscott with the first bucket for John Glenn, and it's 10-2. John Glenn not out of it, although they haven't scored. That's her first basket in a long time, as we've played almost 12 minutes in this basketball game. Hoover now gets it to Anarino. Anarino out to Gossman. Three ball on the way, and it's good. Gossman hits the three.
You mentioned in the pregame, if Gossman gets hot, that could be a difference maker.
13-2 now. Dribbled right into that trap, but they get it over to Church. Church now. Over to Winland. Winland now to Zeminski. Back to Church. Into the corner. They get it down low to Linscott, but she can't get both hands on the basketball. It's going to go out of bounds, a turnover.
John Glenn, a little bit better job of getting the ball to the baseline the last couple of possessions. I think if they can continue to do that, they'll get some better looks. That was actually a pretty good play, but just not a pass that Linscott could handle under the basket. It would have been a layup.
Yep, Linscott just couldn't get both hands on it to bring it in. Schneider, as she's been doing all night, running the point for Granville. She gets it across half court. She's being harassed by Church. Gets the ball to Wareheim. Now on top to Moore. She penetrates. Gossman just hit that three a second ago. She was thinking about it again, but not enough space with Linscott right there on defense. 3:29 to go until halftime. 13-2 Granville. Moore, baseline move, and it's blocked away. But she was out of bounds when she touched it again. So that's going to be John Glenn basketball.
Turnover number 5 for Granville. John Glenn with 7 turnovers in his first half.
I hate to mention this because it'll probably be a jinx, but I think the 3 officials have done a fine job in this basketball game right now. They've been right on top of everything, and I wouldn't even think there's anything that's been even remotely controversial, so fine job here by this crew tonight in this regional semifinal. And you've got to be a good official as well to get along in this tournament. And there's another steal from Granville out of that 1-3-1. Schneider going to penetrate, kick it out to the 3 for Gossman from the same spot she hit from a minute ago, and she's got another one. 2 in a row from that same spot, and that's going to be a timeout for John Glenn, a full timeout. We'll take a break as well. You're watching high school tournament basketball on AVC Sports.
Some things in life are just automatic. Like me, State Farm agent Alan Hunter, offering great neighbor service plus surprisingly great rates on auto insurance. If you were to contact us right now, you'd find you could have some of those surprisingly great rates and good neighbor service right away, as in automatically. Give me or my staff, Austin, Minley, Lori, or Kelly, a call today. 740-439-5385. We think you'll be automatically happy you did.
At Park National Bank, you'll find bankers who take the time to listen to you and make your financial goals their top priority. Want more out of your banking relationship? It's time to talk to Park National Bank. Call, visit, or go online to get the conversation started. Member FDIC.
Game reset here, second quarter action. Girls Division II regional semifinal. Granville on the strength of a couple threes here from Ava Gossman, basically from the same spot on the floor, has given the Blue Aces a 16-2 lead over John Glenn. 3 minutes to go until halftime, and it's kind of one of those do or die times now for the Muskies.
Yeah, John Glenn, 8 turnovers, 8 field goal attempts.
They've got the basketball out of bounds here, and it looks like they're going to be facing that same 1-3-1, and Ella Hoover's done a really nice job out on front of this 1-3-1 in harassing whoever's got the basketball. In this case, it's Zeminski. Now over to Winland. Winland surveys the screen. Linscott trying to post up down inside. They get it to the corner. 3 ball on the way, no good from Morgan, and that rebound off to the Blue Aces. Schneider going to beat the defensive pressure in the backcourt. Morgan doing a nice job, but you can't keep Schneider contained. She's going to get into the lane and draw a foul. She tried to use a little Euro step there and get around Winland, but a lot of contact there, but that foul's going to go on Winland.
Yeah, that's the first time we've really seen Granville try to do the dribble drive into the lane, so that comes from confidence and a 16-2 lead.
Schneider now going to shoot 2 free throws, and her first free throw is good. Schneider shooting about 70% from the free throw line this year, so expect her to have a nice looking shot here and probably get a couple of freebies. And she gets both of those as we expected. And that runs the lead to 18-2 now here. 2:26 to play until halftime. Into that trap area again, and it's thrown away off the hands of Kyla Morgan. Granville basketball.
The center of the basketball. Stay out of those corners, stay out of those trap areas. John Glenn back to the pressure. Looks like almost a zone press, 2-1-2.
Could be, or they're just matching up a little bit out of it. And that's going to be a travel. They forced themselves a turnover out of it, so John Glenn got the basketball back. Maya Oliver going to check back in for the Little Muskies. A welcome scene for them. They need her desperately. Oliver now handling the basketball against Hoover. Hoover pressuring her. Screen on the top. Can't handle that defensive pressure. Hoover got another turnover forced. And now Granville with the basketball. Schneider out on top with it, setting the offense for the Blue Aces. She penetrates, kicks it off to Anarino. She gets into the lane, but there's going to be a foul on the baseline before.
Maybe a hold on John Glenn defensively. You know, Anarino has not been a factor in this game.
And they're going to call that foul on Musselman.
Does Anarino have, what, 2 points maybe?
Let's see what Anarino has. She has 2 points, and that is it. But good teams like these teams that have got to this point, they have more than one option. And there's Schneider, baseline reverse move, and it's going to fall in. Nice move and reverse finish from Ella Schneider. And she's got 6 points now. She's tied Gossman in points for the Blue Aces. And there is another unforced error. This time Lynn Scott throws the ball out of bounds. 20-2. Granville leading John Glenn.
Coach, would you dare with 1:32 to go in the second quarter take the air out and play for one shot?
You're playing too well. You got the momentum. You keep playing.
All right.
You keep playing right here.
Okay.
Oliver going to check back out of the game. Morgan back in for the Muskies. Blue Aces going to take the ball out of bounds. 3/4 court away here. Schneider with the basketball. Looks over at the bench for some instruction, and she's going to walk it up the floor. And they get it to Anarino. Anarino gets it inside to Gossman. Gossman tried to make the move, but kicks it back out to Anarino. 3-ball on the way and good. Anarino with her 5th point of the game.
You're right. Keep playing.
Keep playing. John Glenn attacking this 1-3-1 again. They've got it in the corner. Back out on top to Church. Church penetrates in, kicks it over to Lynn Scott. Corners it now. And its pass was read and taken away. Nice job there by Wareheim. And she got right in the passing lane. She read that all the way and got the steal. Schneider going to go all the way to the rim. 3 John Glenn players there. Nobody went for the rebound. Anarino got it and put it back up. But this time John Glenn comes down with a rebound. Jessica Church now in the floor in a hurry. Gets it on the wing, 3-ball on the way, no good. Lynn Scott fighting for the rebound, and that's going to be off Gossman in the corner. John Glenn basketball here, 34 seconds to play until half. 23-2, Granville leads. Lynn Scott with the basketball, gets it into Church. Church led her right out of bounds with it, stepped out of bounds. Another unforced error from John Glenn. And now Granville a chance probably just to hold it here for one with 33 seconds to go.
Yeah, I think this one, even though you're playing well, you let it go.
Yep. Schneider walking the ball up the floor. Being harassed there defensively by Morgan. Doing a good job on her. Backdoor cut to Gossman. She traveled when she caught it, exactly. Tim Gibson right on top of that call. 17 seconds now left for John Glenn to try to get something here before the half. Something positive. They need something to build on here in the locker room. Just don't have that many shot attempts.
10.
And they've got more turnovers than shot attempts, and that's not usually a good combination.
No, 1 of 10 from the field and 13 turnovers.
Church now bringing the ball up the floor. Clock running. 12 seconds. Ball over to Morgan. Morgan tries to get it over to Musselman, and Wareheim in the passing lane falls right on top of Musselman. That couldn't have felt good.
Blue Aces foul number 14.
It is going to be John Glenn basketball on the sideline. 8 seconds left to try to make something here before halftime. Musselman trying to inbound it. Gets it inbounds. Hand it back, but almost a steal. Now they get out, but it's going to be tipped and knocked out of bounds by Schneider. 2.1 seconds left. John Glenn basketball again. Kyla Morgan going to inbound the ball right in front of the Granville bench. Get it into the corner. Dolan, 3-ball on the way, no good. Church with the rebound up and scooped in, but it was after the horn. That's going to end our half. The Granville Blue Aces lead this basketball game over the John Glenn Little Muskies 23-2. We'll be back with the halftime portion of our show. You're watching high school tournament basketball on AVC Sports.
The Battery Depot is a local battery and multi-purpose shop in Cambridge. They carry a wide selection of batteries, such as interstate, automotive, industrial, marine, and gas and electric golf cart batteries. At Battery Depot, battery testing and most battery installations are free. They carry rechargeable, household, and everyday batteries and can even rebuild power tools and battery packs. They're conveniently located on Campbell Avenue in Cambridge, or give them a call at 740-432-2000.
Now located at 16050 McConnellsville Road in Caldwell, Ohio. Patrons Buckeye Mutual Insurance Company is a mutual insurance company established in 1896 for the purpose of providing insurance coverage to rural Ohio. They offer a product to meet your insurance need, whether it is for a farm, rental dwelling, home in town, secondary or seasonal dwelling, churches, or mobile home. They partner with Grinnell Mutual Insurance Company to offer liability coverage to package with their patrons Buckeye Mutual policy. Call today at 638-3604 and follow them on Facebook at Patrons Buckeye.
I'm not buying till I check Down Ford.
Most of us are faced with uncertainty every day. Your job, your finances, sporting events, schooling for your children, and so much more. With so much uncertainty surrounding you, there's one auto dealership that you can be certain about, and that's Doan Ford. You can be certain that you'll always get a great deal and the best service afterwards. In business for nearly 60 years has given Doan Ford the reputation of being a strong, reliable dealership. Be certain. Choose Doan Ford online at doanford.com. At Park National Bank, you'll find bankers who take the time to listen to you and make your financial goals their top priority. Want more out of your banking relationship? It's time to talk to Park National Bank. Call, visit, or go online to get the conversation started. Member FDIC.
Some things in life are just automatic. Like me, State Farm agent Alan Hunter, offering great neighbor service plus surprisingly great rates on auto insurance. If you were to contact us right now, you'd find you could have some of those surprisingly great rates and good neighbor service right away, as in automatically. Give me or my staff, Austin, Minley, Lori, or Kelly, a call today. 740-439-5385. We think you'll be automatically happy you did.
How can you select from insurance companies offering you lizards or ducks? When it comes to protection for your home and auto, you want a company that provides quality insurance products and personalized, fair, friendly claims service. WB Green Insurance represents Westfield Insurance. Their reputation is based on sharing knowledge and building trust. Westfield has been around the neighborhood over 150 years. WB Green Insurance welcomes the opportunity to quote your home, car, and business insurance. Don't be fooled by lizards and ducks. Call 439-1329.
Halftime here at Windland Memorial Gymnasium on the campus of Zanesville High School. Our Region 7 Division II girls basketball tournament. Granville Blue Aces lead this basketball game 23-2 at half. Breaking down our scoring a little bit here first. It'll be quick for John Glenn. Mackenzie Linscott has the lone bucket for the Little Muskies. For Granville, Harper Anarino has 5 points. Ava Gossman with 6. Ella Hoover with 3. Taylor Wareheim with 3. And Ella Schneider with 6 for their 23 points. Fine sponsors for tonight's contest again: Doan Ford, Valentine Insurance, Patrons Buckeye Mutual Insurance, Alan Hunter State Farm, Park National Bank, West 40 Auto Sales, WB Green Insurance, Woodsfield Savings Bank, the Battery Depot, and Surgeon Construction, all sponsoring tonight's broadcast of tournament basketball. Howard, some stats from this first half.
Before we go to the stats, Dave, I want to go back to something we talked about in the pregame. Is we talked about possessions, that we thought John Glenn may only have 40 possessions in the basketball game. They really needed to make them count. 11 field goal attempts and 13 turnovers, 24 possessions for John Glenn. That probably as much as anything, although there are some key numbers as well. But that says a lot right there. But let's go to the numbers. John Glenn, 1 of 11, as Dave mentioned. That was Mackenzie Linscott's field goal. So 1 of 11 field goal shooting for the Lady Muskies, 13 turnovers, as he mentioned, and 9 rebounds. Granville did not shoot the lights out. To the credit of the John Glenn defense, they were just 8 of 23 from the field, 7 turnovers, and they out-rebounded the Lady Muskies 15-9. So when you look at the numbers, it says pretty much what the score says, and I'm reminded of Bill Parcells that said, you are what the score says you are, or words to that effect. And right now, Granville dominated John Glenn, not necessarily on the offensive end, but defensively is where they made their mark in the first half.
I think if you would have asked John Glenn's coaching staff, hey, at halftime, Granville's only going to have 23 points. How would you feel about that? And I think they would say that they felt pretty good about that because they have really done a pretty good job in limiting the big scorers for Granville. They've done a nice job on Anarino, and they've done a really nice job on Moore. A little bit of that junk defense there, that triangle and 2 has done well for them, but they haven't been able to rebound out of it. That's been something that's hurt them a little bit. The offensive rebounds for Granville, and then offensively, they're really struggling against this 1-3-1 and the trapping that Granville does out of it.
Yeah, I guess my question for you, Coach, is you're in the locker room right now for John Glenn, and you're trying to go to the dry erase board. What are you cooking up?
Well, one of the things I would be talking about is, hey, we've played our worst half of basketball. All right, we're going to play better in the second half. We know we can play better. We're going to play better in the second half. So that's the first thing I think you got to start. You got to have a positive mindset before you even try to do any X's and O'ing. You've got to get them out of that funk. Hey, we can play better. We're going to do better in this second half. They've got to do a better job when the constant cross-court passing against the top of this zone isn't going to do it. They're going to have to look at that diagonal pass from when they get it on that wing or that high. They've got to get it into that high post area, and then when they do get it there, the players have to turn and face the basket. You got to square up. If you catch it at the free throw line and you leave your back to the basket, you are not an offensive threat. So they've got to square up. And once they get it in that point, they have players that are good enough. They can beat somebody on the dribble and maybe get to the rim. Or again, as we said, look at that diagonal pass. You catch it, in that top left-hand part of the court, that diagonal pass to the bottom right side or vice versa. So, there's a couple things that they've got to do, and they're going to have to make a little bit of adjustment against that. If you're Granville, I'm going to keep playing it until they beat me.
Right. John Glenn, at least from the way I've seen the first half, is they run a 2-guard front, which is fine, especially against the odd defense, the 1-3-1. But what they haven't done, I think, is take advantage of the numbers that they have at the high post area. I think perhaps, and again, I'm not the coach, I'm not in the locker room, but think about Oliver and Zemensky. You're going to have to trust your ball handlers out front. Try to get them at the high post and then a shooter down in the corner, and then try to go that diagonal pass that you're talking about, Dave. You can't play side to side. It's going to have to be one pass, diagonal to the high post, turn and look, kick to the ball side corner where your shooter is, and then dive down from the other elbow, or just take your man right there at the high post when you get the ball. But they've got to get the ball right there.
Well, it's one of the things we've got a couple suggestions. And of course, Howard, you and I are undefeated as broadcasters here.
Well, of course.
It's a lot easier to say what to do up here as a broadcaster than it is down there on the floor. That is for sure. But obviously, John Glenn is capable of playing much better basketball, and they're going to have to do so here in the second half. You'd like to tell your team, hey, I know we've got a run in us. We can make a run here, but here's the things we got to do. And one of those, they've got to rebound the basketball. You can't give Granville any extra shots down there. And they've got to force some turnovers. They've got to do, like you said, maybe they're going to have to extend their defense a little bit and maybe force some turnovers that way. Because they're going to have to get more shots at the basket than they did in the first half.
I'd be curious to see how many teams tried to really rush Granville during the course of the season, which I think is what you're suggesting, Dave, is that try to get them out of their comfort zone, because they truly are a half-court team. They value every possession, and that's where they make their mark is on the possessions. But I'm just wondering, as you say, can you press them? Can you really get after and make this a quicker game? Perhaps that's what they're thinking about as well.
Well, and teams that have advanced to this portion of the tournament, you know, you get to the Sweet 16. You're one of the last 16 teams left in your division. I bet you've got some ball handlers. I mean, so it's really tough to press good basketball teams. But if anything, they're going to have to do is probably get them to turn it over one way or another, whether it's some sort of half-court trap maybe, or something that they're just going to have to get some turnovers and get more shot attempts than they did in that first half, because they didn't get enough shot attempts to really stay in the basketball game.
No, and again, you know, do you come out of your comfort zone with just 11 field goal attempts? Do you come out of your comfort zone and just start running and gunning, so to speak? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, we'll see what they come up with here as the clock winds down here to end our halftime. 1 half of basketball left to determine that regional final opponent for Fairland. Once again, Fairland, an 88-61 winner over Unioto in the first game here in Zanesville. Winner of that game Friday night advances to the Final Four. And I believe Final Four, everything's in Dayton this year. John Glenn going to come out here on defense. Granville going to have possession to start this third quarter. 23-2. Granville has done a nice job, and obviously a very well-coached team to get to this point.
Starters for John Glenn, Dave? Is Oliver out there?
I do not see Oliver out there. She is over on the bench. Schneider with the basketball. Being harassed by Church. Now they're going to try a little trap. Get it over on the left side. They get a deflection. Run into each other there. Anarino comes up with the ball, though. Gets it over to Gossman. Gossman. Nobody going to check her, so she's just finally going to take it all the way to the rim, lay it up. No good. And there's that miss and defensive rebound that they needed. Here comes Church on the dribble. Gets it ahead. Now back to Church. Skips it over to Zemensky. Penetrates, gets to the corner, 3-ball on the way, no good from Dolan. Rebound off to the Blue Aces. Gossman trapped, and they knock it away from her, but she's gonna keep possession for the Blue Aces. Nice job trapping the rebounder there by the John Glenn defense.
And some, full court pressure.
John Glenn gonna pick them up three-quarter court here. Schneider gets around Church. Nobody's going to stop her. Boy, she got away with a travel. She gets it to Moore in the corner. 3-ball, no good. And that ball is going to go out of bounds. And he pointed the wrong direction, and he's correcting himself. He knew what call he wanted to make. He just pointed the wrong direction, and he corrected himself, and it's John Glenn basketball. They've got what they needed here to start the half. They've got a couple of stops, but they're going to have to score down here to get back in it. Zemensky, spin dribble. Into the lane to Lynn Scott. She forces it up, but she is fouled inside, and it's going to be 2 free throws. That foul was on Gossman, and that's going to be her second foul.
And you know what's good there, Dave, and they've done this pretty much in this third quarter. It's early on, but you've got to dribble drive. You've got to go right after them. You cannot play the way they played in the first half.
A little bit more aggressive there from John Glenn on the offensive end. Lynn Scott, free throw, up and good.
Personal foul for Manarino.
Second free throw on the way. And they're talking about who they reported the foul on, because I've heard the scorer's table say 2 different numbers. And I think I heard him say Anarino. I think they switched it. I think they gave that foul to Anarino instead of Gossman. Lynn Scott's second free throw, no good. 23-3, Blue Aces. Schneider on the attack again, and she pulls it up. She's going to be guarded by Zemensky. Now back to Schneider, and again, Granville not in a big hurry. Schneider with a stop and go on the dribble, being harassed by Zemensky. Pulls up, gets it to Anarino. 17-footer off the back iron. Lynn Scott fights for the rebound. She finally gets both hands on it, but she's going to get tied up, and that's going to be a jump ball. And that is going to be John Glenn basketball.
For the Lady Muskies, number 12, Kyla Morgan.
Kyla Morgan checks back in. Lynn Scott to inbound the basketball for the Little Muskies. And again, they've got themselves a stop here. 6:27 to play in the third quarter. Granville still holding at 23 points, what they had at halftime. Zemensky now tries to penetrate. Ball gets turned over and picked up by the Blue Aces. 2-on-1. Schneider dumps it off to Gossman. Bank shot up and good. Nice job by Schneider running that little 2-on-1. She took it all the way till she got defended and then dumped it over to the Gossman. And there's another turnover from John Glenn. They get the ball up ahead. Laid up, no good. Rebound for John Glenn. Baseball pass all the way down the floor. Layup, no good. My. From Emma Dolan, and she was fouled and going to shoot 2 free throws.
I'm thinking could that be intentional?
Lady Aces foul number 14.
I don't know if that's intentional, but
second team foul.
Okay.
I didn't see it well enough to make a qualified decision on that one. So
just a hard foul where you push somebody in the small of the back as she's going for a layup.
We're going to give Dolan her 2 free throws. First one up and no good.
Number 20, Ella Hoover.
25-3, 5:52 to play in the third quarter. Dolan, 58% free throw shooter on the year. Second free throw. Dribbles it, eyes the rim, and that one's short. Rebound off to Gossman. Gossman ball tipped by Lynn Scott, but Granville maintains possession. Nice ball movement, they get it up the floor. Now they get it to Moore. Hesitation dribble. Now back out to Wareheim. And Schneider going to run the show. Nice stop and go dribble. Really nice ball handler. She gets into the lane. Layup off the back iron, no good, but offensive rebound there. 3 ball on the way from Gossman, no good, but another offensive rebound. This time from Schneider, but pass out and a foul. And that was on Gossman, and that was her second foul. So I was right on that other situation. They switched that foul to Anarino. Moore checks out of the game for Granville. John Glenn, 5:19 to play here in the third quarter. Going to attack again. Got away with a travel out front there as Sakai in the game. Lynn Scott out on top of the basketball. Now over to Windland. Sakai tries to get the ball over, but it's tipped. John Glenn keeps possession. Penetration there all the way in. Dolan turns it over, but then scramble for the basketball, and here comes Granville with the ball. They main possession, and they're going to get a foul called this time on Lynn Scott over on the sideline. No foul called. A timeout was called and issued to Granville. 30-second timeout, so we'll just keep it right here.
You know what's unfortunate for John Glenn to score 25-3, 4:45 to go here in the third is they've actually played a little bit better in the third quarter.
They have.
Their defense has been more aggressive. Offensively, they've started to attack the basket. They just haven't knocked down shots. It's just very unfortunate. But there's still time. They can make this a game.
We've played 3 minutes and 15 seconds here in the second half. Granville with a single basket and John Glenn with a single free throw. So we've had 3 points scored in this first 3 minutes and 15 seconds of the second half. An old coach I used to work with said the first 4 minutes of the second half was one of the most crucial times of the game. And it was one of those, if John Glenn could make a little run, that's that time you needed to do it, is that first 4 minutes of the second half. But still, they've still managed to increase their lead despite only having 1 field goal here in this third quarter. Schneider attacks with the dribble again, hands it over to Gossman. Gossman gets it to Wareheim. Now into Anarino. Bounces inside, and she is fouled on the way up. Windland fouled her on the way up.
Lady Muskies foul number 24.
Nice job getting the ball inside, and I think that's a direct result of that timeout, Howard, as they made a conscious effort to get the ball to Anarino on the inside.
Who's really had a pretty quiet night.
And that first free throw for Anarino is up and good. She's got 6 points now for the Blue Aces.
She leads them with 16 a game.
Second free throw now. Another substitution there for John Glenn. Anarino's second free throw is good. Anarino, a 75% free throw shooter, gets both of those. 27-3. Church on the attack offensively. Over to Sakai. Sakai tries to get it into the corner to Morgan, but it's knocked out of bounds by Granville. Marissa Sackeye on the sideline, going to inbound it for John Glenn. And it's taken away on that inbounds pass. Wareheim got the steal. Now Schneider into the offensive end, going to run the show again for the Blue Aces. Dribbles to the right side. Doing that high-low again. They're going to get it to Anarino down low. Left-handed finish this time, and she can't get it to go. Rebound off to Linscott. Here comes John Glenn on the run. And the ball is going to go out of bounds. Nice effort there by Ella Hoover. Got in the passing lane, almost came up with a steal, but got on the sideline there while she was trying to get that steal made. Sackeye inbounding again, this time to Linscott down deep. Ball goes off somebody's foot, but Church came up with it. Back to Sackeye. Sackeye gets in the gap there, nice penetration. Now in the corner. They're trying to be more aggressive out of that trap, but it got taken away. Anarino going to go all the way to the rim. Left-handed up, no good. Ball going to be off Gossman as she crashed the boards hard, but couldn't come up with a rebound. John Glenn basketball now, 3:37 to play in the third quarter.
Yeah, John Glenn offensive struggles. We thought they might put a few more points on the board, and they still can, but their shots have been a little bit better.
Church hands it off to Sackeye. Sackeye on the dribble now, back to Church. Church being harassed, going to be trapped. Now they get it on the sideline. Nice pass over to Linscott. 3-ball from deep, off the back iron. Rebound to Anarino. She gets it to Schneider. Schneider on the dribble. Gets it all the way up and hands it off to Moore. Moore penetrates, step back 3. No good. Rebound to Linscott. Here comes John Glenn. She throws it up ahead. Musselman, 3-ball on the way from Church. Church rings the bell from deep. First 3 of the game for John Glenn. 27-6 now.
It's becoming a bomb contest.
Moore going to answer back for the Blue Aces, and she does. That's their 3-point shooter out there. Give her enough opportunity, she was going to make one of those, and now it's 30-6. John Glenn in a hurry again. There's a nice diagonal pass to Linscott. Linscott gets it taken away as she tried to get it to Church. They're going to get it up ahead to Schneider. She's going in for the layup, and it's up and good for Schneider. And that's going to give a timeout to John Glenn. And that's going to be a full timeout, so we'll take a quick break. You're watching high school tournament basketball on AVC Sports.
Surgeon Construction is leading the way in commercial and industrial construction. This is Jason Emsch, and we are committed to providing exceptional construction experience from pre-construction through project completion. Our success is measured by exceeding our clients' expectations. See our past and previous projects at Cambridge YMCA and New Educational Center at Jurassic Park and FMJ Shooting Range, just to name a few. Find us online at surgeon.construction and like us on Facebook.
Surgeon Construction. We'll take it from here.
Park National Bank knows that when you buy your first home, it's the little things that mean the most.
I always love to hear my son say, "Mom, I don't ever want to move. I want to stay here forever." It's all for him.
What means a lot to you means a lot to us. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Third quarter action here in Zanesville. 2:23 to play in this third quarter. Granville leading John Glenn 32-6. John Glenn basketball. They're going to attack here again and try to draw closer by the end of this third quarter. 23-2 at the end of the half. Granville has extended that lead now up to 26 points. So they've made a little run here in the last minute or two. They've got basketball tipped away, almost lost there by Sackeye. They get it down low to Linscott. And I think she walked with it. Yes, she did, traveling. Took a couple steps before she could put the ball on the floor.
19 turnovers for the Lady Muskies.
Hoover now to inbound at John Glenn. Full court press here. And they get it inbounds to Moore. She breaks on the dribble. They've got numbers, 3-on-2. Corner to Gossman. 3-ball up, no good. An air ball, but rebounded there by Anarino, and she's going to be fouled by Linscott down deep. Anarino going to shoot 2 more free throws here.
Number 1, Mackenzie Linscott, her second team foul.
Anarino, a 75% free throw shooter on the year. Going to get a chance to add a couple more to her total. She's got 7 points right now, and that's her 8th as that first free throw is up and good. Anarino going to get her second free throw here. Dribbles it a couple times, looks at the rim, lets it go, and that one's good as well. 34-6, 2 minutes to go here until the end of the third quarter. Sakai trying to get across half court now. She's in a trap, but it's knocked away. And it's going to be John Glenn basketball right at the media table on the opposite side of the floor from our location. Sakai to inbound the ball. Skips it all the way over to Babcock. Babcock back to Sakai. It's kicked by Schneider. John Glenn going to inbound the basketball again on the sideline. Sakai to inbound it. Gets it into Musselman. Back to Sakai. In that trap again, and it's taken away. Schneider going to go all the way, lay it up, left-handed, no good. Out of bounds, off of Sakai. Granville will maintain possession underneath their own basket. 1:38 to play in the third quarter. Schneider going to inbound the ball. Looking for somebody to throw it into. Having trouble, she finally lobs it in and gets the ball to Hoover. Now back to Schneider. Schneider penetrates, tangled up with Musselman there. Bodies fall to the ground, and that's going to be a foul on Musselman. And that's her second foul. 1:33 to play until the end of the third quarter. 34-6, Granville leads it their possession, and they get it right into Anarino, and she's going to score and get fouled by Babcock. Chance for the old-fashioned three-point play. And Howard, you were saying that she has been relatively quiet, but she has awoken here in the third quarter. She's got 6 points in the quarter, a chance to add her 7th from the free throw line here, and she gets that done.
It's an amazing day. Scorers know how to make their points at opportune times.
And she is now up to 12 for the game, and her team leads this one 37-6. Lynn Scott and Musselman in the backcourt for John Glenn. They throw it up, and Babcock wasn't looking, and that's another turnover. Babcock turned toward the bench. I think she was listening to something from the bench and wasn't ready for the basketball. So here come the Blue Aces again. Anarino fakes that handoff. She's going to get dribbles into the lane, kicks it back outside. They try to get it into Schneider, who was posting up down low, but they can't get it to her. But Schneider stays with the play and gets a steal. Turnover. She gets it up to Gossman. Gossman's shot is blocked, and it's out of bounds. Going to stay with Granville. Shot blocked down there by Winland. Winland or Lynn Scott, one or the other got a piece of that one.
You know, we should mention, we haven't mentioned enough that Maya Oliver has not played this entire third quarter for John Glenn. Big loss.
Blue Aces now trying to get something done here before the end of the quarter. 45 seconds to play. Schneider going to back off on the dribble. She's really good at that stop and go. She gets it into Anarino. She turned to her left. And Morgan, if she just could have turned around and seen the basketball, she would have had herself a steal, but she couldn't see it. She's trying to keep the ball out of Moore's hands, which they've been trying to do the entire game. Inbound it. Here comes Gossman on the dribble. Nice move all the way to the rim. She can't get it to go. Anarino crashes the offensive board and gets it. Now out to Schneider. Three ball. Good. Schneider. 3 points. She's got 11 points now. John Glenn in a hurry, and Moore gets another steal. Gossman finally gets it. Penetrates to the basket, lays it up and in. 42-6, 1 second left, and that's going to end the third quarter. Granville leads this game 42-6. We'll be back with the fourth quarter. You're watching high school tournament basketball on AVC Sports.
Our community is a special place, and you work hard to make a living and build a good life for you and your family. It's not always easy. You deserve a local financial partner to be there when you need them most. At Woodsfield Savings Bank, we live, work, and play here. Our cutting-edge technology combined with local decision-making allows us to deliver unmatched personal service. Let us start earning your trust today. Woodsfield Savings Bank. It's personal here.
At Park National Bank, you'll find bankers who take the time to listen to you and make your financial goals their top priority. Want more out of your banking relationship? It's time to talk to Park National Bank. Call, visit, or go online to get the conversation started. Member FDIC.
Fourth quarter action ready to start here at Zanesville. Granville leading this game 42-6, and the lead just pushed up to 36 points, so that means we will have a starting this period, we will have a running clock. So the only time the clock will stop is if the officials stop the clock for some reason, but the clock will, even during free throws, the clock remains running. So that kind of expedites the finish of the basketball game because this one is out of reach.
Yes, it just hasn't been their night.
Schneider now with the ball. Gets it back over to Hoover. They get it in deep to Gossman. Linscott, nice job there, just had her hands up and partially blocked that shot from Gossman. Windland now gets the ball up to Musselman. Now to Linscott. Skips it in the corner now to Babcock. Back tries to penetrate, but she is trapped. And that's going to be a jump ball, and that's going to go to John Glenn.
For the Blue Aces, number 34.
There's a good example. The clock just keeps running here as we get ready to inbound the basketball. Lots of new faces on the floor here for Granville as Harper Anarino just checked out of the game. That was a kick, I was going to say. He's got to call that one. Ella Hoover has done a nice job out on top of this 1-3-1. When she's not been out there, it's been Wareheim, and they have both done a fantastic job for Granville in harassing whoever's got the basketball. They've done a great job out on top of this thing.
Credit to somewhat Granville's coach. Looks like they're going to probably sub everybody in here early in this fourth quarter.
Haley Strasser in the game for the Blue Aces. Hoover out there. Gossman still in the game. Katie Cottrell just checked in as well for the Blue Aces. Delaney Verasso checks into the game for Moore. For John Glenn, Addison Paisley checks into the basketball game. And also Grace Lawrence. Lots of new faces on the floor for both teams. Clock running now. 6 minutes to go until this one ends.
It's been like a minute 40 that the clock has been running with all these subs.
Linscott checks out of the game. Sakai back in for John Glenn. The young kids have been over there on the bench. They haven't got to play. They got some fresh legs, so probably going to see some fouling, some pressure. Trinity it in the passing lane. Nice job there by Emma Dolan. And here comes another sub for John Glenn.
Lady Muskies, number 54, Aubrey Larrick.
Aubrey Larrick checks in. Madeline Windland checks out. And Granville inbounds the basketball. And I would say that the pace of play for them is still going to maintain the same. Kyla Morgan, they get the ball down to Gossman, but she can't catch it and score with it. Now it's out on the wing. Nice penetration, but nice job defensively there by John Glenn. Keeping that ball from getting caught down low. Under now 5 minutes to go in the basketball game. Verasso handles the basketball. They get it inside, and it's taken away by John Glenn, and it's still loose on the floor. I was going to say taken away by John Glenn, but not quite. But they did force a tie up there, and John Glenn will get possession of the basketball.
Interesting, Dave, we have not had a field goal attempt in this fourth quarter.
Not yet.
The closest we had, Morgan Linscott had the block of the one Granville field goal attempt early on in the fourth. Now the ticket is punched, obviously, for the Lady Aces, eh?
42-9 is our score here. 4 minutes to go in the basketball game. Granville going to be very patient here. Barrasso with the basketball. Crossover dribble, gets all the way. Lays it up, no good. Rebound off to John Glenn. And that by Addison Paisley, and she brings it up. Picks up the basketball at the free throw line. Left-handed jumper, no good. Rebound fought for. Nice try there by Faith Hayes. She's trying to save it, but knocked it off the back of the backboard. And that's going to be basketball to the Aces. I was going to say they had the score wrong on the scoreboard. I looked up, it said 42-6, and I'm thinking, or it said 42-9. I was thinking I missed a 3 somehow, but I did not. It is 42-6 is our score here. 3 minutes to go in the basketball game. Nice little dribble handoff here from Granville. They get it in, left-handed layup on the way, no good. Offensive rebound fought for and out of bounds. And that's going to stay with Granville. Even though I believe Haley Strasser thought she knocked it out. And Strasser gets it on the inbounds. Fakes the 3-ball, dribbles all the way to the rim, no good. Rebound off to John Glenn. And Faith Hayes with the rebound. Foul that time on Katie Cottrell.
Team's fourth.
2.5 minutes to play in the basketball game, clock moving. Hayes going to inbound the basketball to Paisley. Paisley up the floor, left-handed dribble. Breaks through the pressure, tries to dump it inside to Larrick, but can't get it done. It's stolen away. And that's going to be a travel they're going to call on Barrasso. Got a little bit ahead of herself there. Lifted that pivot footer, it slid on the floor on her. Now under 2 minutes to play. John Glenn trying to make something happen here positive in this last couple minutes of the game. Get it out on top, 3-ball on the way, no good. Larrick had the rebound knocked away from her, and then John Glenn will keep it.
As a reminder, everyone, please remain off the playing surface.
John Glenn to inbound the basketball. Sigmund going to inbound the basketball. Gets it down low, back to Sigmund. Baseline jumper, no good. Larrick fights for the rebound, puts it on the floor, but then it gets taken away from her. And they're going to call a jump ball. Jump ball going to go to Granville. Clock moving, 1:15 to play in the game.
On the Blue Aces, number 30, Megan Lodge.
Megan Lodge checks in for Granville. Her first action of the game. Barrasso going to walk the ball up the floor. 1 minute to play. She gets it across half court. They've spread the floor. She's going to penetrate to the free throw line, kick it out on the wing to Rogovin. Nice dribble handoff action again. They're trying to look for some space to maybe get that dribble penetration and get an easy bucket here at the end. Trying to get the ball inside again, but it's tipped away. Here comes John Glenn on the run out. And foul going to be called as Hayes goes up to shoot it. And if that's a shooting foul, that's going to run the rest of this clock out. Nope, it wasn't a shooting foul, so it's going to be out of bounds. 20 seconds left. John Glenn going to inbound the basketball. Probably the last possession of the game. They get it down low to Larrick, spins, and she is fouled. And she's going to shoot 2 free throws, but I think that's going to end the basketball game before she can shoot the free throws. 3 seconds left. Clock runs down, and that's going to end the game. And that ends it. She doesn't get to shoot the free throws. That's going to end the basketball game. The Granville Blue Aces have defeated the John Glenn Muskies 42-6 in this regional semifinal. We'll be back to wrap this one up in just a minute. You're watching high school basketball on AVC Sports.
At Park National Bank, you'll find bankers who take the time to listen to you and make your financial goals their top priority. Want more out of your banking relationship? It's time to talk to Park National Bank. Call, visit, or go online to get the conversation started. Member FDIC.
Some things in life are just automatic. Like me, State Farm agent Alan Hunter, offering great neighbor service plus surprisingly great rates on auto insurance. If you were to contact us right now, you'd find you could have some of those surprisingly great rates and good neighbor service right away, as in automatically. Give me or my staff, Austin, Minley, Lori, or Kelly, a call today. 740-439-5385. We think you'll be automatically happy you did.
How can you select from insurance companies offering you lizards or ducks? When it comes to protection for your home and auto, you want a company that provides quality insurance products and personalized, fair, friendly claims service. WB Green Insurance represents Westfield Insurance. Their reputation is based on sharing knowledge and building trust. Westfield has been around the neighborhood over 150 years. WB Green Insurance welcomes the opportunity to quote your home, car, and business insurance. Don't be fooled by lizards and ducks. Call 439-1329.
The Battery Depot is a local battery and multi-purpose shop in Cambridge. They carry a wide selection of batteries, such as interstate, automotive, industrial, marine, and gas and electric golf cart batteries. At Battery Depot, battery testing and most battery installations are free. They carry rechargeable, household, and everyday batteries and can even rebuild power tools and battery packs. They're conveniently located on Campbell Avenue in Cambridge, or give them a call at 740-432-2000.
I was sitting in my car and it wouldn't start. I lifted the hood and the engine was falling apart. What would I do? My eyes filled with tears. Then on the radio I heard of West 40 by Pay here, where for a little money down and a little each week, I could have a car, nice, shiny, and sleek. So I walked in the door and I put the money down. Now I got a nice car that I can drive around. West 40 by Pay here will help rebuild your credit. The corner of Dewey and Route 40 in Cambridge, don't you forget it.
West 40 Auto Sales, corner of Route 40 and Dewey Avenue in Cambridge, is home of the guaranteed credit approval, with most loans approved while you wait. Go to their website to fill out an online loan application, west40autosales.com. You'll also find their weekly special listed there.
Back at Zanesville High School, where the Granville Blue Aces have defeated the John Glenn Muskies 42-6 in this regional semifinal. They advance to Friday's regional final contest against the Fairland Dragons. Winner of that game will advance to the state tournament final four. To round up our telecast tonight, first I'll turn it over to Howard for some stats that he compiled, shooting and rebounding and all that good stuff.
After the first quarter, it was 7-0 Granville. Slow start, obviously, for both teams, but then the Lady Aces really picked it up in the second quarter. At the break, it was 23-2, and from there on out, it was just not much to be said offensively, really, for either team, although Granville did score 19 in the second half, and John Glenn scored the 4. Field goal shooting first for Granville. They were 15 of 44 from the field. They turned the ball over 8 times and had 23 rebounds. For the Lady Muskies, they were 2 of 20 from the field. They were forced into 21 turnovers, and they collared 15 rebounds. So the stats favor the Lady Aces, as does the score.
Scoring for Granville, Ella Schneider had 11 points. Taylor Wareheim had 3. Aaliyah Moore had 3, Ella Hoover had 3, Ava Gossman with 10, and Harper Anarino with 12. And as they've been all year, very balanced scoring attack for the Blue Aces. For John Glenn, Mackenzie Linscott had 3, and Jessica Church had 3, and that rounds out the scoring for the Little Muskies. As we said, Granville advances now to the regional final. They'll take on Fairland, an 88-61 victor over Unioto in the first game here tonight. And that's going to wrap up our broadcast. We really appreciate our helpers here tonight. Brett Klein running the show, Andrew Dunlap on the camera, I should say. And for myself, Dave Hilliard, and Howard Twiggs, we appreciate everyone that tuned in on YRPtv, the YouTube channel tonight. Whether you were in Madison, Wisconsin, or in New Concord, Ohio, or wherever you may have been, we appreciate you tuning in. That's probably my last broadcast for the year, so I will sign off and tell everyone that you've been watching high school tournament basketball on AVC Sports.
This has been a presentation of AVC Sports.